It's another very beautiful day in the city of Lagos, Nigeria, West Africa. I've been taking time on Asabe Afrika to meet a legal practitioner, a man who is very familiar with the works of the law and the laws of work, in the person of barrister FEMI ADISA-ISIKALU. He's a legal practitioner and managing partner of Goldrush, a full-scale commercial law firm in Lagos. And he's equally the author of best-selling law books, Civil Procedure, Precedents and Forms, and the co-author of the book, Understanding Wages of Letter of Credit in Nigeria. It's a commercial legal book on business transaction. Barrister ISIKALU is an avid litigation law expert, a social commentator, commercial law and constitutional lawyer. We are meeting in Lagos, somewhere in the heart of Ikaja, in his chambers, to discuss about some issues around the country, especially in the political sphere and those that has to do with business and relationship. Sir, we are very privileged to be with you, sir, this morning. And we thank you for this honor. We've been trying to reach out to you in the last 3 months, and all we get from your chamber is that you are busy, maybe you're in Port Harcourt, or you are doing one case in the court of law and all that. Of course, first of all, sir, how will you define barrister FEMI ADISA-ISIKALU? Who is this gentle legal practitioner, sir?
Yes, Mr. Asabe, I welcome you to our office, and we are very delighted to have you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, on behalf of myself and our team. Yes, FEMI ADISA-ISIKALU is a lawyer, an easygoing person, an avid believer in justice and dispensation of justice timelessly. Yes, I think Mr. Asabe, you know the rest.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
yes, sir.
yes.
Yes, sir. Because my concern was that I think 2-3 years ago, when you released the book, Civil Procedure, Precedents and Forms,
Yes.
which is a kind of a master stroke, the book sold out within 6 months, and it was like something that was hot in legal environment in Nigeria, and I think there were a bit of reviews, sir. What was reasonable for writing of that book? When did you decide to go into the archives to dig out some of those what can I call it, literatures to make the book? So why is the book so very hot, sir?
Yes, the book really, as a young lawyer then, we observed that the art of law practice is not actually well taught.
That's in Nigeria, sir?
Yes, yes.
Okay, sir.
Yes, the art of law practice is just browsed through, at the law school, and a lot of young lawyers come out clueless as to how to practice law. Yes, so given the exposure that I had with some of the best law firms, during my stints with them as their employee, I discovered that I gathered some knowledge and I need to share. I need to make law practice easy, or easier as the case may be, for the younger ones. But to the glory of God, even the senior ones have benefited tremendously.
From your research?
Yes, from the work. And we've been receiving calls from every nook and cranny of Nigeria, people asking us to review it, how the book has assisted them tremendously. Yes, we discovered that there was a void that needed to be filled.
Okay, sir.
Yes, and I urge other lawyers also to take up the challenge and ensure that the act of law practice is easier. Yes, the knowledge that we have should not be held or hoarded, as the case may be. We should share with one another. I think that's what's important.
No, sir. But what do you think is the problem of the average Nigerian lawyer? Because the average Nigerian lawyer, from my own perspective, many years ago, I used to have relationship with some young lawyers, and the average challenge is that, they have been underpaid, they come out of law school after spending a whole lot of time to read the best subjects in the world law. They are being underpaid. They are not well funded in terms of research, in terms of litigation, and all that. That generally there is poverty in that sector, except for some few politically inclined lawyers. So that you, as a practitioner, in the last couple of years, what do you think is the average problem, or what is the real problem of an average lawyer in Nigeria?
Well, without, yes, being charitable to the seniors, I believe the present impasse that young lawyers face in terms of monetary remuneration is largely foisted on them by the seniors. With all due respect to them, yes, the seniors, some are well paid by the clients, but still elect to underpay the younger ones. For those that are struggling with practice, it's understandable that you pay a lawyer pittance and you expect him to work around the clock. I think largely the problem of young lawyers is that one, most of them are impatient to learn. I know that they just thought, once I'm out of law school, let me just go and make all the money in the world. Not knowing that law school is just the starting point.
It's just the beginning.
Yes, you need to really learn the rudiment. You need to learn, the practice of law in the field. You need to be able to situate everyday life, events, occurrences into law practice. You need to be able to. So a lot of them come out with this idea, or this notion that, I'm coming to come and make all the world. But
so they're looking at the glamorous aspects of the elite ones.
Exactly, but when they get out, it's discovered that the reality is very grime. The reality is not what they bargained for, and you see a lot of lawyers discouraged, out of practice. Some diversify, some actually go into selling, things and all that. Trading. So it's rather unfortunate and all that. So apart from the issue of impatience, the seniors that employ younger lawyers should realize that all lawyers go to the same market.
All lawyers go to the same market?
Yes.
Just like people that go to the market to buy tomato, to buy pepper,
yes,
and all the rest.
So how do you expect a young lawyer to survive on 50,000 a month? Given that 50,000 is not his basic salary, it is gross salary. It encompasses his, transportation allowance, everything. 50,000.
Fashion allowance, wardrobe allowance, and even allowance.
Yeah, those are even for people, you understand.
Okay, sir.
In Lagos, for people that are out of Lagos, it's even more pathetic. It's even more pathetic. For them, some earn as low as 15,000, 20,000 a month. That's
miserable, sir. In fact, I'm hearing this for the first time. What are you going to do with 20 and 15,000 in this age when the cost of living is so very expensive?
Yes, even the cost of even recharging your phone, buying data and all that. 15,000 cannot cover it a month, and that's what lawyers earn. But that now takes us to the cost of that, and the cost of that essentially is the people.
Okay, sir.
Yes, it's the client. When you underpay lawyers, you understand, when you consider the work of a lawyer, intangible, because you can't see it. It's not, a piece of land you've bought or a car that you can see. The work is intangible. You can't touch it. So a lawyer's advice, Nigerians, I don't know, maybe it's the level of exposure, we see it that, what has he done?
Yes.
Nothing. And all that. But not knowing that those advice could save lives.
Yes.
Those advice could save you money, could save you trouble, and all that. So Nigerians should change their attitude towards professionals, particularly lawyers generally. Our attitude should change.
For lawyers?
Yes, you should pay your bill, as it went due. You should be reasonable. You have instances where clients will go shopping for lawyers. They'll come to this firm, get your advice and say, I saw someone out there that wants to do it for me for 5 naira. So if you don't take 2 naira, I'll,
That's critical.
Yes, and that's why some of these lawyers, they earn very little. Their earnings are irregular.
Yeah.
So, and that informed how they treat the younger lawyer.
Looking at it, when you look at civil procedure, precedents and forms, which is your book, you start to look at it. A lot of people look at the theme, that is the topic of the book, and just glance to the literature. But when you look at the book practically, you see that it's all about the practical aspect of law. I mean, it has to do with engaging. It's like I can call it a kind of a compendium of legal activities. So, sir, is the book written to put light on some of the issues you just raised about underpayments, about poor remuneration from clients, from employers, and all that?
Yeah, well, I will be right. You know, I will say I agree with you. You know, totally on the aspect that the book is also trying to address the issue of poor remuneration of lawyers. Yes, in the sense that those information or knowledge that the seniors hide away from the juniors, this book has presented them.
So for Law 101, for any new Nigerian law students, you can go to the book. It's like almost like a dictionary.
Yeah, it's like almost, it's like an oracle, you know, of civil law practice. You want to go to court, to the Court of Appeal, to the Supreme Court, to the High Courts, to the Industrial Court, to Federal High Court. You don't know. The client has briefed you. You don't know how to go about preparation of the process, which is the heart of the law. How to prepare it, you know, the way to present issues, the ways to carve your prayers or present your prayers and all that. This book has been able to solve that problem for a lawyer. A lawyer out of law school with this book can go to court.
And even on the first day?
Yes, can go to court, prepare his processes and present it. They are life, you know, precedents, things that have happened in court, that have gone through, you know, the fire, the purifying fire of, you know, of courts. So these processes gives a lawyer confidence that, oh, this is how it's done, because it has been done before. And essentially that's what that book is to help solve the problem for young lawyers. A young lawyer that finished from law school with, say, you know, a third class, that all law firms that refuse to employ because they want someone with either 2-1 or 2-2, and of course first class and all that. So he's clueless, but he needs to move on in life. He needs to move on with his practice.
Yes, sir.
There's no senior to guide him. There's no law firm to take him. He could pick up this book, you understand, and he will be fine. In terms of the civil law practice, he will be fine with the book. Essentially, that's what the book covers.
Now, let me ask you, sir. A lot of people who have spoke about Barrister FEMI ADISA-ISIKALU. Some people felt that you are a protector of Ghanaian. Did you ever studied under him or worked under him, or have you ever had a relation with the late Chief Ghanaian? I mean, from your ways of presenting law and from your way of handling cases and all that, because I was privileged some years ago to see you at the Industrial Court handling a case, and a lot of people saw the way you were, I mean, chatting your prayers, I mean, handling issues, and trying to rally around opinions and all that, sir. Are you trained by the late Chief Ghanaian?
Well, I won't say directly.
Okay, sir.
But as a young man, Ghanaian has been an inspiration to virtually all young lawyers. Chief Ghanaian is a beacon of, you know, excellent law practitioner. So he has inspired a lot of us. We have been fired on by his passion.
Okay. At
times when we watch him on TV in courts and all that, a lot of us, aspire to be like him, and all that. So not directly, understand, but indirectly, I would say I'm a disciple of Chief Ghanaian. Yes, and I'll be happy, to associate with him. To associate, with his ideals.
Okay.
Because he has passed on,
Yeah.
Yes, to associate with his ideals and to carry the beacon for him, with work, permits. Yes.
Before I go to your second book, recently the federal government honored Chief Gani me with a GCON award for his liberty struggles, political emancipation and all that.
Yes.
So do you see that as a welcome development to the legal sector in Nigeria, sir, as a young lawyer? I mean, do you think the president has taken the right decision to honor him with the GCON, sir, posthumously?
Yes. Well, a lot of there have been a lot of divergent views on the legality of that award, the posthumous award, as the case may be. But I won't want to join, in the fray.
Okay, sir.
Yes. But largely, I think it's a welcome development. Even though the motive, which is unknown to us, the motive might not, really be palatable. But yes, identifying and recognizing someone that has fought for the liberty of this country, that has been, punished over and over, for fighting just for the interest of the masses, is a welcome development. And then I commend the federal government in that aspect. The legality is another thing.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
What do you mean by legality?
Yes, the legality, like I said, there have been divergent views. Some has considered that you cannot honor a dead person. You understand?
Yeah, but because I was
with that award, because that award actually is reserved, for Nigerians that are alive, not dead Nigerians. And some people, some have said that once you're dead, you're no longer in Nigeria. That's another legal issue.
That was Senator Dinomelai and some other people. I think there's a former CBS of the Federation also, I think Belgore or something, who also came out to say, no, it is not legally applicable. But some people say, oh, if it could happen to war veterans and they could give them honors in their death, why can't it happen to a political veteran like Chief Moshood Abiola, then a legal veteran like Chief Gani and other benefactors? So, sir, from the point of law, do you think it can scale through if you are to look at it from the letters of law? Technically, I mean, a lot of people believe that the law itself draws inspiration from popular opinions. I mean, what is in the mind of the majority? So, do you think it is right, sir?
Yes. Well, like I said initially, I wouldn't want to join the legal fray.
Okay.
Yes, but since you've asked this question, well, personally, I think giving an honor, posthumously to a dead person, it's reasonable, it's commonsensical, and it's legal. Because the person is a citizen of this country. They have fought, for the freedom of Nigerians. They have sweated. They've done a lot of, commendable things for this country.
Done sacrifice.
Yes, recognizing them, it's a welcome development. And it's legal. They are citizens of this country, yes. And honoring them posthumously, like the word said, posthumously, you understand? I don't see why it cannot stand. But, well, like I said, it's a fray, it's a divergent view. If anyone has issue as to that, they should go to the court to seek necessary interpretation.
That is an higher opinion.
Yes. If you feel that a dead person cannot be honored, let's subject it, to the interpretation of the court. The court decides what the law is, not what I think the law is. Is what the court says is the law that is the law. So if we subject it or submit it before a competent court of jurisdiction to interpret it, I am of the firm view that the interpretation will be that that award was proper in law. Yes.
I think this is a fantastic one. I'm hearing it for the first time, sir. Before we go to the understanding wages of letter of
understanding
wages of credit in Nigeria. Let me ask you, can you share your first day in court with us? How was it like? I mean, first day in court, and what were those things that came upon you, and how are you able to handle the fear? I mean, may I call it the stage fright and all that? So how did you handle it? Because a broadcaster's first day on air could be so very psychological tasking. I mean, a writer's first day with a pen could also be so challenging, but how does it look like for a lawyer walking into a court, defend the client, face some bourgeois and walk out of the court? So how did it happen with barrister FEMI ADISA-ISIKALU Esq?
My first day in court wasn't palatable. And that's the truth, yes.
Okay.
I was in court.
Which court was that, sir?
Yes, that was the High Court of Lagos State, Igoshere. It was before retired Justice FEMI Adisai-ISIKALU, and there was an altercation, more or less in court, between myself and the judge.
So how do you handle it? How can there be altercation between the judge?
Yeah.
Just a young lawyer coming out of school to face the judge, I mean, who has been there for years.
Yes. Well, the case, as it were, was a fundamental human rights case. Okay. And the Honorable Justice retired issued a bench warrant for the arrests of our clients. Yes, so that was my office, the first law firm I worked with. Okay. And the bench warrant was issued, and then we resolved at the office that that's not proper in law. So we applied for same to be set aside, and the Honorable Court disagreed with us. So there I had to make my submission and all that. It was not a palatable experience. I was almost cited for contempt, but then.
So you are burning with fire, and trying to burn with fire as a young lawyer, you nearly cross the line.
Yeah, I almost crossed the Rubicon. But the Honorable, the retired Justice FEMI Adisai-ISIKALU was understood that I was fresh out of law school and indulged me and all that. But it wasn't a very funny experience.
So what happened?
But it was a learning experience.
A learning curve, sir?
Yes, it was a very good one. I understood, the dynamics, presenting your case before a court without incurring the wrath of the court. And that's the advocacy. You persuade the court, you don't stampede the court.
You persuade the court, you don't stampede the court.
Yes, you don't force the court, you only present, you persuade the court to see it from your lens. And that I learned that day, and it has been very useful for me in the field.
Very useful in the field. Now, can you also share some of those people you work with that inspired you? I mean, you have also, from your profile, you've worked with some of the best lawyers, like Dr. Udein and some other very brilliant lawyers in the country. I mean, who among them inspired you, and which of the chambers would you say is the most inspiring chambers where you ever worked and you learned so much?
Yeah. Well, I've worked with quite some, I've worked with a number of commercial law firms.
Okay, sir.
Yes, I've worked with Udein & Co. I've worked with Royal Heritage. I've worked with TRLP Law and all that. And in working with all of them, they have, contributed, to the jigsaw puzzle that made my practice today. But in whole, I think I'll give it to Mr. Kola Udein.
Okay, sir.
Mr. Kola Udein, SAN, exposed me to, another dimension of law practice, and which has been the building block of my practice, yes. But they've all been very wonderful, they've all been very good seniors, they've inspired me and they keep inspiring me, yes.
Your new book is coming out now, and
it's even out already.
It's out already, yes. Sir. It's called Understanding Usages of Letter of Credit in Nigeria. I mean, you're a lawyer, of course, you're a commercial law expert. So, what is the problem with the usage of letter of credit in Nigeria, and why do you think Nigeria need to understand it? Is there anything that you found out that you decide to go back to the research room to get more literature for the education of the ordinary people and the elites?
Yeah, understanding and usages of letters of credit. Yes, it's a book that, it's a book that I stumbled you know, into writing accidentally.
Okay, sir.
Yes. It was actually the brainchild of Professor Richard Adepeju.
Okay, sir.
Professor of Management and Banking Science. He needed, you know, the touch of the lawyer into it.
Okay.
And then he called on me too. But by and large, the book is about simplifying the practices and usages of letters of credit.
Okay.
Yes, and other financial, international financial, you know, instruments. The book is first of its kind in Sub-Saharan West Africa.
Oh, Sub-Sahara.
Yes.
Okay.
West Africa. So it's the first of its kind. There's never been a book of it, at least of this magnitude, that we are aware of, and all that. So the book essentially is to break down the dynamics, you know, of letters of credit, to simplify it for people to use, to bring the legal issues to the fore, to help, you know, the banking sector and the users of letters of credit to understand the legal implication, to understand, you know, how to protect themselves from fraud in using letters of credit, to understand, you know, the sanctity of documentation in letters of credit. This book covers all these areas, you know, of the usages of letters of credit and the law as it relates to them. Yes, the legal issue most, you know, companies or, you know, Nigerians run into is largely out of ignorance and out of you know,
excitement or
no, this ability not to pay professionals.
Oh,
you want to take
nonchalance.
Yes, you want to take a loan. It's a contractual agreement. It's something that has a legal implication, and you left everyone out. You left the lawyer out. You left the accountant out. Most of the Nigerian companies don't have a legal department.
Oh, you mean most Nigerian companies
don't
have a legal department?
They don't have a legal department. To even advise, oh, this is what you're going into. If you're taking $1 billion and the interest rate is 22%, this is what you're going to pay. They don't involve lawyers. They remember lawyers when they're in trouble. And that is it. Where a lawyer could have told them, calm down, don't take this deal, this is a bad deal. There won't be a lawyer to tell them. They'll run into that logjam, they'll run into that trouble. That's when they start calling them lawyers. So I think if most of these companies, you understand, when they enter into a legal transaction, or a transaction that has a legal implication,
yes, sir,
they should always carry their lawyers along.
So you mean that a lawyer must have his day in their transactional activity with the courts, with the bank?
Yeah, a lawyer appreciates the legal terms, you understand. The accountant also will appreciate the financial terms, will appreciate that this is what you'll be paying in interest. If you default, this is what you pay. If you pay on time, you know, they protect you. But a lot of Nigerians, a lot of Nigerian companies, they don't do that.
But do you think it is out of fear? Because a lot of people do that. Oh, if you want a lawyer, please don't put lawyer into it.
It is because they don't want to pay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
A lawyer will a lawyer will tell you, I'm giving you a legal representation, I'm giving you legal advice, this is my fee.
Okay.
They're like, what is it doing, for God's sake? It's intangible, I can't touch it. How can you tell me to pay 10 million naira when I can't see what you are saying? But when eventually the thing boomerangs, they will now remember, oh, it's only a lawyer now that can salvage the situation. A lot of smart organization knows that the legal department is as important as your financial department. The absence of a legal representation can ground your whole business, can ruin your home business, can ruin all you've worked for all your life. So Nigerians should have this attitudinal change, you know, towards the way they treat lawyers, towards the way they treat, you know, their businesses. If you get a lawyer involved, you're protecting yourself. You're not protecting that lawyer. You're doing it for yourself. A lawyer will tell you this is a bad deal, don't take it. A lawyer will say, let's negotiate.
So the lawyer is almost like a seer.
Yes, they can negotiate that 22% that you don't see because you're seeing the cash now. You understand? A lawyer will tell you this is rather on the high side. Can you do 15%? Can you do 10%? He's calm, he's collected, he's in charge. He can negotiate for you. But most of these business people, they don't. They just want to call lawyers out, and when they run into trouble, they run back to the lawyer.
I mean, I used to see this. I used to see this. Someone can say, "Don't get mad, get a lawyer."
You understand?
And so, what I'm trying to say is that most Nigerian business people now eventually get mad before they get a lawyer. So now, are you now saying that it is very compulsory that every developing business or every organization have a legal department?
It's important.
Okay.
It's important if you're starting up and you don't have the wherewithal to get a legal department in place, but it's good to have a lawyer that advises you on your transactions. You understand? That advises you on things to do. There's so many things that you need a lawyer for. Registration with NIC/ITF, application of employee, compensation act, labor act, your relationship, the company relationship with its employee. The regulatory things is to do, with regulatory agencies and all that. All these things, if you're not a lawyer, you might not know them. So that is why you need a lawyer to advise part-time and all that.
Is that why lawyers are called Leonard Fellows, sir?
Yes. they are perceived to know many things.
Virtually everything.
Yes, virtually, laws that regulate everything.
Okay, sir.
You understand? The law that regulates a labor, that regulates the employee-employer relationship, the lawyer knows about it. The law that regulates what happened in the oil and gas industry, the lawyer knows about it. The law that regulates, contractual relationship between banks, marriages, a lawyer knows about it. That is why you need them. They know the aspect of law of everything in life. A lawyer, we must get it right, does not know everything, but they know virtually all the laws, enacted laws, even some unenacted that regulates, the relationship of every sphere of life. That is why, they are called the learned people.
Fellows.
Yes, fellows, as the case may be.
I want to ask you this. Can you share the experience of the worst case you ever handled? I mean, do you have any experience of the worst case that you ever handled as a lawyer?
Well,
I'm sure you have handled a lot of challenging cases, but can you just remember one peculiar one that felt so very, very,
well, yes, I've not, the thing about law is that when you get yourself involved,
okay, sir,
in the fact of the case, it might affect, your objective legal, decision of it. So I really don't get, attached in that sense. But I get attached to the justice of the case.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get attached to the emotion of the case,
yes,
but to the justice of the case.
Okay. So that's sort of, places me, above having that emotion that, oh, this is a bad case, this is a worst case,
okay,
and all that. I see that every case has the possibility of, being a success,
okay,
100%. It all boils down to the attitude of the lawyer, to the diligence of the lawyer, to the fact that the lawyer must be up and doing, dig the law house. I see all of them as, equally challenging. Defending a suit of 10,000 naira, defending a suit of 100 million. I see them all as equally challenging. So I would say I'm a bit above, that threshold, okay, that, we get me emotionally, involved to the extent of saying, oh, this is a very worst case. Because if I have that kind of perception, I'll lose track of my objectivity. And my objective is to ensure that justice is done. even if justice, you understand, is against my clients, I ensure that justice is dispensed.
And the spirit of justice is delivered.
Yes. That is the guiding principle.
I want to ask that which was the best, because I mean I don't know how to ask that one again, but I will still like to ask that which is the best case we ever handled, or it's still the same principle. This the principle.
Yes, that's why I said equally they have equal chance. Understand? They have equal chance. But yes, but in whole they've all been very inspiring. They've all been very, you know, engaging, interesting, and all that. They've all been all the cases. But you know, the beauty of law practice is that you can make your submission, make your presentation, and the judge says, I don't agree with you. Your prayers refused. You don't have to feel bad. That is just the court of first instance. You still have the court of appeal, where 5 or 3, you know, justices will sit. And 5 of them, if it's a constitutional matter, may decide that, oh, we agree with you. Why the lower one says, I don't agree with you. They might say, I agree with you. So why should you get worried because one says it doesn't, and you go on appeal and the appellate court says they agree? Or you might even get, or the party might even appeal to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court will say, we don't agree with them. You would have just subjected your emotion, you know, to the seesaw, you know, of decisions of the judges, you know, to the, you know, vicissitude of what they decide. And tomorrow the Supreme Court might decide that, oh, this is the position of the law. And next morning they wake up, they say, oh, we're overruling ourselves. That was not the correct position, or that is not the correct position of the law. So if you get involved in that, you will just have hypertension. So it's better to just stay above and be objective.
So objectivity counts.
Yes, and look at issues objectively. Tell your client the blunt truth. This your case is weak. This your case might fail. You understand? But you do not have a right to say 100% outrightly this case will fail or this case will succeed. It's subject to the overall, you know, discretion of the judge.
And you say that law as a profession is tasking and challenging, because let me say, oh, what is the most difficult work in the world? But most lawyers, I mean, they are always busy researching, reading, they don't even have a social life. When you say law is a very challenging job, how do you define the experience, sir?
Yeah, well,
for those that are coming into it, because a lot of young people are looking at watching the interview and say, oh, I want to be a lawyer. Oh. But for that, you're having someone who has practiced for so many years now. So are you saying law, is it a very interesting profession or a tasking, rigorous profession?
Well, one cannot rule out the part of hard work in everything you do.
Okay, sir.
And like that common saying goes that anything worth doing at all is worth doing well. Law as a profession is a very engaging and demanding profession. Understand, you have to put your mind into it. The presence of mind is very important. But for me, I see it like trying to join a moving stream. The moment you're eventually in the stream, the process of trying to like run, you know, and get the perfect timing to join the moving stream is a difficult aspect. The moment you are in it,
understand.
Yes, and the stream is moving. You understand? The stream takes over the walk. Understand? But that part of, you know, of jumping into the stream, which is the part of reading, you know, the part of researching, the part of catching up or keeping up with, you know, the development of law and all that. Because there's some things that has come into, you know, existence now that were not there before. That the lawyers of old, the legislator, they didn't even contemplate. But now they're making new laws for it. So one has to, you know, be sensitive to his environment. Be able to pick up, oh, these things will bring about legal issues and all that. And you're ahead of them. You're ahead. You know, you're ahead of your peers. You understand? So with that, one will be fine. But like you said, and like in so many other professions, it's engaging, it's time consuming, it's demanding. But once you get into the flow, you find it effortless. You do it effortlessly.
On the last note, sir, let's ask you, how can people get the book? Because I'm aware that a lot of young lawyers want to have your best-selling law books, that is Civil Procedure, Precedents, and Forms. And the second book which is also out now, Understanding Usages of Letter of Credit in Nigeria. Some people spoke to me before coming, said, especially some of the young lawyers who are my friends, said they want the first book, but I'm not very sure how they can get that first book and this second other book, which I'm very sure will be very valuable to business people who want to take loans, collaterals, all the rest. So how did they get your books, sir?
Well, yes, the publisher, they're majorly the one in charge of the sales and all that. So, but I'm aware the books can be found in virtually all the court premises, in Nigeria, and bookshops. So there's been a quite wide coverage on that by the publishers. So they can get it from the courts, from reputable bookshops,